When the cell is about to divide only, they are called chromosomes. Before that, they are thread-like structures. Then what will they be called as? Chromatin fiber, or you can say chromatin threads. When the cell is about to divide, that chromatin will become thick, and then they will be called as chromosomes. Each chromosome contains what? Chromosome contains what?
Contains DNA.
Yes, proteins. And it is the DNA that controls all the activities of our cell. It also has information to pass it to next generation. That means the information of our parents' DNA has come to us. So DNA has information to pass from parents to offspring, and DNA also can control our cell's activity. So this is what we learned about nucleus last class. Now we'll continue from there. Next.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, write this down. Cell wall. So cell wall is there to protect the cells. Cell wall is there to protect the cells. It is found surrounding the nuclear membrane, sorry, cell membrane. Cell wall is found surrounding cell membrane. The cells, and it surrounds cell membrane. It surrounds cell membrane, but cell wall is present or it is present in plant cells. Cell wall is present in plant cells, then bacterial cells, and fungi cells. Plant cell, bacterial cell, and fungi cells. But it is absent. Cell wall is not present in animal cell. Cell wall is absent in animal cell. Cell wall is absent in animal cell. So that's what this image shows. The image here shows. So you can see this is a bacterial cell. Bacterial cell has a cell wall. They have bacterial cell wall, and that surrounds the plasma membrane or cell membrane. So there is plasma membrane here. Surrounding that only cell wall is present. Similarly, fungi also has cell wall. Fungal cells also have cell wall surrounding the cell membrane. Then there is a plant cell. So bacterial cell as well as plant cell, they have got cell wall, whereas animal cells will not have cell wall. Now in plant cells, cell wall is made up of cellulose. Plant cells, cell wall is made of cellulose. So plant cell wall is made of cellulose. And cell wall, as you have learned last class, when a plant cell is put in hypotonic solution. Now this is plant cell. This is a continuation of last class what I'm telling. If a plant cell is put inside hypotonic solution, hypo means very dilute liquid. That is the meaning of hypotonic solution. Then what will happen if it is put in hypotonic solution? What will happen?
Ma'am, nucleus will bulge, ma'am, bigger in size, ma'am.
Actually, hypotonic solution, yes.
And cell wall, ma'am.
Yes, good.
And cell wall push back to the nucleus, ma'am.
Yes, correct. So you know that there are so many cell organelles present inside the cell, nucleus and mitochondria, like that. So many structures are there inside. They are together called as cell organelles. So inside the cell, there is cell organelles, and the liquid part of the cell is called cytoplasm. All these are surrounded by membrane. That membrane is called cell membrane. So the cell membrane is present and inside the cell membrane, within the cell membrane, you can find nucleus and other cell organelles. Solution. When you put it into hypotonic solution, since hypo means very dilute solution, that means water content is more in the solution than the cell. So all the water will get inside the cell. That is what happens. All the water from the hypotonic solution, liquid will get inside the cell. This will make the cell bulge. So it will make the cell to bulge. Cell will become bulged like this. Means they will become swollen. Cell will become swollen. So the cell, when it is put in hypotonic solution, cell will bulge, or you can say cell will become swollen. Then what happens is it will not burst. Cell will not burst, even though it bulges, but cell will not burst. It will not burst like balloon. It will not burst. Who gave it protection? Who gave the cell protection?
Cell wall.
Yes. So when there is a pressure towards the cell wall, then the cell wall will put back pressure. Cell wall will push backside. So because of this, the cell will be protected. It will not burst. That's why we can say cell wall. One more benefit is that cell wall gives rigidity. The meaning of the word rigidity is that the cell will not burst. It will stay strong. That's the meaning of rigidity. So cell wall gives rigidity and turgidity. Rigidity and turgidity. Turgidity means after it gets all the water, still it is able to withstand the pressure. Rigidity means cell remains strong. So that is the meaning. Rigid means strong. Turgid means after getting in water, it stays bulged but not break. Bulged but not break, or but not plus nucleus has the nucleus which is there. It is surrounded by a double-walled membrane. But full nucleus is not surrounded. Nucleus has got pores also. So there is nuclear membrane, double layered nuclear membrane like this, surrounding the nucleus. So this is nuclear membrane. And there is nuclear pore. This is nuclear pore. Why this nuclear pore is there? Because there are some things which is present inside the nucleus which has to come out, So it is nuclear pore is there to transport the materials from the nucleus outside to cytoplasm. That in higher classes you will study about RNA. RNA is ribonucleic acid, that is another nucleic acid, and some proteins. They all come from nucleus outside to the cytoplasm. So if they have to come out, there should be a hole here. That's why nuclear membrane is double layered only, but completely it is not surrounding the nucleus. Nuclear pore is also present. So nucleus has double layered nuclear membrane, and nuclear membrane has pores to allow materials from inside nucleus to cytoplasm. Nucleus contains chromosomes, and it contains DNA and protein. DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. It contains information for making of cell and also activities inside the cell. If the cell is non-dividing, that means it is young cell, then they have chromatin material. Chromatin material means they are like this, thread-like. But if the nucleus is present in a dividing cell, then the chromatin material will be like this. This is called chromosomes. That is, if it is a mature cell, chromosome is there. Young cell means chromatin thread. When the cell is about to divide, the chromatin material becomes chromosomes. Now next, what we are going to learn is two terms are there. One is called prokaryotic cells and other is eukaryotic cells. We'll first take a look at prokaryotic cells. The simple meaning of these two terms is pro means primitive. Pro means very old, primitive type of nucleus, old. Whereas eukaryotic means new type of nucleus. So all the bacterial cells, they are called prokaryotic cells. Whereas plant cell, animal cell, fungi cells are called eukaryotic. Now why it is called old nucleus and why it is called new type of nucleus is old nucleus did not have nuclear membrane. Like you see in the bacterial cell here, it does not have a nuclear membrane. Only the genetic material is there. Genes is there here, DNA is there, but it is not surrounded by nuclear membrane. Another thing is that there is no membrane bound cell organelle. You can't see mitochondria here, chloroplast, lysosome. Like that, cell organelles are not there in a bacterial cell. That's why they are called primitive. Primitive means old. Meaning of karyo is nucleus. Whereas eukaryotic cell, we'll write this down. Prokaryotic cell, next heading. Prokaryotic cells, in that pro means primitive, primitive means old. And the meaning of karyon is nucleus. So those who have primitive nucleus, they are called as prokaryotic cell. Now this is the bacteria. If this is the bacterial cell, they have cell wall. Okay, they have cell wall, they have cell membrane, everything is there. But they don't have nuclear membrane. See the genetic material? This is genetic material. Genetic material thread-like. But the genetic material does not have nuclear membrane. So prokaryotic cell has no nuclear membrane. Write it down. They have no nuclear membrane. And they also have no membrane bound cell organelles. Membrane bound means membrane surrounding. That's the meaning membrane bound. They don't have membrane bound cell organelles. They don't have membrane bound cell organelles like mitochondria, chloroplast, ribosome, like that things are not seen here. So that is why it's called as prokaryotic cells. Now we will come to eukaryotic cells. So the eukaryotic cells you can see here. Eukaryotic cells have double walled nuclear membrane. So the genetic material is surrounded by nuclear membrane. It is also having other membrane bound cell organelles like endoplasmic reticulum, mitochondria, lysosome, vacuole, Golgi apparatus, like that so many membrane bound because each cell organelle has membrane. So eukaryotic cells, they have membrane bound cell organelles, whereas prokaryotic cells, they don't have it. So example of prokaryotic cell is bacteria. Now coming to eukaryotic cells. Eukaryotic cells, example of eukaryotic cell is fungi cells, plant cell, animal cell. All these cells have true nucleus. Meaning of you means true. Karyon means nucleus. Like for example, I'm drawing here animal cell. I'm drawing here animal cell. So the animal cell, they have nucleus. Nucleus is surrounded by nuclear membrane. They have nuclear membrane. See, an animal cell has nuclear membrane. It also has membrane bound cell organelles like mitochondria, then lysosomes. Like that, they have got membrane bound cell organelles. Membrane bound cell organelles. So all the eukaryotic cells have nuclear membrane also. So they have a true nucleus. So this inside, this whole thing is called nucleus. They also have got membrane bound cell organelles, which prokaryotic cells don't have. Note it down, children. Area cheeks are there, no? On either side of the tongue, sides of your cheeks, that you have to just scrape it with some toothpick or any ice cream rod. You can smoothly, you just scrape it. Then take little water inside the glass slide and you rub that toothpick inside this. When you keep under the microscope, you will see cells which are like this, irregular shaped, almost triangular shape. And since it is from our cheeks, That's why they're animal cells. They don't have cell wall. You can see nucleus and then you can see cytoplasm. So to get color on this, you can use any of the stains. You can use methylene blue stain or saffronin stain. You can use it. So that's what you see. So this is what you see under the microscope. Under the microscope, you can see our cheek cells are like this. And it will not have a cell wall because it's an animal cell, but you can see nucleus. Then you can see cytoplasm. You cannot see the prokaryotic cell. Prokaryotic cell structure, it has cell wall and it has got plasma membrane, ribosomes, but you can't see any other kind of cell organelle. Now we can name this region that you can take down. The region of prokaryotic cell, you can take down this. The region of prokaryotic cell with genetic material is called nucleoid, Nucleoid, because you cannot call it as nucleus. Nucleus, if you have to call, means nuclear membrane should be there. But bacterial cell, they don't have nuclear membrane. So this region is called nucleoid region. But they don't have nuclear membrane. Nuclear region contains nucleic acids or genetic material, you can write. This region in bacterial cell is called nucleoid. Organisms whose cell do not have nuclear membrane are called prokaryotes, for example, bacteria. Organisms whose cell has nuclear membrane, they are called eukaryotes. So prokaryotic cell do not have membrane-bound cell organelle also. But membrane-bound cell organelle is present in eukaryotic cell. Now, if it is a photosynthetic bacteria, now some bacteria, they are photosynthetic, means some bacteria with the help of sunlight, they can make their own food. Minerals they can take from the place where they grow, like soil bacteria is there, no? So in the soil, what minerals are there that they will take, and using the sunlight, they can make food. So there are some photosynthetic bacteria. That time, but they need chlorophyll. If in case of plants, means chlorophyll is present in cell organelles called chloroplast. This is chloroplast. That is in case of plant cell. Chloroplast is present. But such kind of membrane-bound cell organelle is not there in bacteria. They only have some bags. Some bag-like structures are there, which has inside chlorophyll. They have chlorophyll. So, for example, photosynthetic bacteria, they have chlorophyll in membranous vesicles. Vesicles means bags, but not in cell organelle, plastid. That is present in eukaryotic cell. So, prokaryotic cell, they will not have any kinds of cell organelles. They don't have cell organelle. Now, this is the difference between prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell in textbook. This is from textbook. So prokaryotic cell, eukaryotic cell, size of prokaryotic cell is very small, say 1 to 10 micrometer. 1 to 10 micrometer. 1 micrometer means 10 raised to power minus 6 meters. That much small it is. Micrometer it is. The nuclear region is known as what? Nuclear region? Nuclear region is known as nucleoid. And we can write about the nucleic acids also. Nucleic acids do not have nuclear membrane. Nucleic acids do not have nuclear membrane. Nucleic acids means DNA, RNA, they're all called nucleic acids. It also means genetic material. So in genetic material, they are not surrounded by any nuclear membrane. So that region is called nucleoid. Now in case of eukaryotes, nuclear region is well defined and it is surrounded by nuclear membrane. The next difference, prokaryotes have only one chromosome. They have only one chromosome or a single chromosome. See, this is how the bacteria is now. Bacteria, it starts like this, chromosome material starts like this, and they just coil like this. So only one is there. Whereas if you take a eukaryotic cell, they have nucleus. Each nucleus has 1, 2, 3, many chromosomes will be there. So that is the difference. If it is case of prokaryotes, only single chromosome. Eukaryotes, they have more than one chromosome. They have more than one chromosome. Last difference, membrane-bound cell organelles are absent in case of prokaryotes. Now, like that, we have to write about eukaryotes. What will you write here? Fourth point in eukaryotes.
Membrane-bound cell organelles are present.
Yes, like that you should write. Membrane-bound cell organelles are present. Whatever is written in the other side, that one's opposite you write here. Membrane-bound cell organelles are present. So you got your